Welcome to the Rangers Today Baseball Podcast. From the bus leagues to the big leagues, the Rangers Today Baseball Podcast has got you covered. Here's Jeff and John. Hey everybody, welcome to the Rangers Today Baseball Podcast. This is episode number 128. I was off by one last week.
That's all right.
I lose count all the time. Hey, but this is Beat Writer Roundtable week. We're going to have Kennedi Landry and Shawn McFarland are going to join us at noon, and we're going to go live on that one if you're seeing this now. By the way, if you're seeing this now, you're already watching the recording. It's over with. But a lot of things to talk about. Most stuff we're going to get into with them, but we can't talk about All-Star Week.
Yeah.
What's happened there. Adolis now, it just came out that he's going to be doing the home run derby, which,
yes.
I mean, it can't hurt him. I
Right.
mean, let's be honest.
Right. Yeah. No, it's not like he's hitting 370.
You know what? Look, they went on a good little stretch there. They won 5 in a row. It's
did.
the best they've done for a while, and they weren't going to keep that up for 15 games, let's be honest, but it was a bad – they had bases loaded twice last night, and both him and Langford had bad at-bats.
Yeah, they struck out. I think that Garcia's first at-bat in the fifth was actually pretty good. He just ended up striking out.
Yeah.
Langford struck out both times. Then Garcia chased the first pitch in the seventh with 2 outs and popped out. So
right,
some pretty big opportunities there, because then if they cash in on those, let's say even if they're losing 5-4, Daniel Roberts is not pitching in the eighth, and may not, the Rangers may not give up a home run there and have a chance in the ninth. But yeah, for this month they've done well offensively for the most part.
Yeah. That loss in no way nullifies, now they're sellers. That does anything to do with it. They've got to win series. It's not about winning.
Yeah. I mean, they're off today. They got a huge series this weekend, really. Yeah. I mean, I guess at Houston.
I would say they got to take 2 or 3. I mean, yeah, they could go and get swept and still be in it, but let's be honest.
Yeah. They need to win games.
Yeah. It's time to start winning. And they're showing that their offense is trying to wake up a little bit.
Yeah, they've had some good games. Had really good games against Tampa. The first one against the Angels was good. It's not like the second one was bad. They scored 5 runs and won the game. So they are showing signs of life, and so that's good. It's been overdue, and but yeah, they need to play well up until the All-Star break. Coming out of it, they have 3 against the Orioles. They're at home at least, and then 4 against the White Sox. So I think
there's an opportunity. I
think the end of the White Sox series will kind of dictate what Chris Young decides to do.
They're 6.5 game out right now. They're more than that out of the wild card.
Yeah,
but they would. I think they have to shave a few games off of that.
Yeah,
to give it serious consideration.
Yeah.
Now, depending on the 2 teams in front of you, well, the Astros you control. You're about to see them for 3 games.
Yeah.
But as far as the Mariners go, you're going to have to depend on them to not win 5 or 6 in a row. You need them to kind of go through this.
I think the Rangers still have 6 games left against them.
Sure, right.
6 against the Astros. It's weird though; they don't play the Astros after the first week of August, which is a little
they normally end. They do it towards the end of the season.
But yeah, I mean now's the time, because the trade deadline, there are not controllable people. There are guys in expiring contracts who would draw interest from other teams, including.
We're going to get into all of that,
including Kirby Yates. Max Scherzer said yesterday on the Foul Territory podcast that he would not waive his no trade clause in his contract,
because we're going to win here.
Yeah, and he really likes it here. I think
he does too. His family seems to enjoy it.
And if he wants to play another year, I think he would like to play it here. But anyway,
does he have an option?
No, this is it.
Okay.
And then
he's looked good.
Yeah, he's been pretty good.
He has good.
He's gone deeper into games, which I think was kind of the. There are a lot of concerns, I think, with him, but how much he could pitch and how well he could recover, he seems to be doing just fine. So that's a positive.
We're going to get more into
positive.
Yeah, we're going to get more into stuff with Kennedi and them when we're going to ask some questions. There's a few questions people have asked, but let's talk about this. It is All-Star weekend. Only 2 Rangers made the All-Star team.
Yeah,
a lot of talk about the Josh Smith snub, but I mean, yes, it was, especially when was it Devers that backed out.
Right, and then they put in Jordan Westberg,
which
yeah,
I mean, they're.
I mean, that's based on player vote, though. That's not,
he came in second.
The manager just doesn't have any say anymore. And if Bruce Bochy was picking the team, I would think that Seager, Smith, and Evaldi would have made the team. So I would have think the Rangers would have 5 All-Stars.
No starters, but they weren't going to anyway.
Right. They would have them as reserves. So that kind of stinks. I think if you look at in Josh Smith's case, if you look at his numbers among American League third basemen, they're fantastic. The only thing where he's not solid is home runs, but he's like leading in average and on base,
OPS
and I think WAR. So I mean, and that is kind of silly, and I think that kind of goes to show kind of what the player vote is. It's they vote for their buddies, they vote for the names that they know. I don't think a lot of them are doing a deep dive into positional breakdowns, which is unfortunate for Josh, but he seems to have taken the right attitude about it. And look, the guy's he's playing every day in the major leagues. I think that's more than he could ask for when the season started. So
he has done nothing but increase his value.
He shouldn't get greedy. It would have been nice, and who knows what's going to happen here in the next couple of days. The big thing is the pitchers, the All-Stars who are scheduled to throw Sunday. I haven't looked at it, but if there are starting pitchers who throw Sunday, they can't throw Tuesday. So I would think that would be an opportunity for Evaldi to get a chance to pick up a berth, but who knows? But yeah, All-Star Weeks, it's going to be a lot of fun.
You and I will be out there. We went and got all our stuff. So let's say what we're going to do. So Saturday is the future game. What time is that game, by the way?
It's a day game. We got to look that up.
But
it's an afternoon game because they have the celebrity softball tournament afterwards, which I will not be staying around for.
I might. Who knows?
Okay, you can.
I've told the wife that I'm.
Sunday's a dark day. Nothing going on at the ballpark though. The All-Star Village, there will be a lot going on.
We're going to the draft.
And the draft is Sunday. So they're only having 6 players there though. So I don't know.
You may not go.
We'll see.
I'm going. I just like the atmosphere. I want to go get some video for the website and stuff.
Yeah, and then Monday's the home run derby. It's also media day when you interview everybody, and they're subjected to the media have to sit at a table and answer our questions. And they say it's 45 minutes, but they're always a little late. They always leave a little early, so they shave some time off. And then like I said, the derby's that night, and then Tuesday's the game, and it is the best All-Star game in major sports.
Absolutely. Even though it doesn't mean anything anymore, they still they play the game like they play the game. Still pitchers trying to get batters out, and maybe they're not sliding into second as hard as they normally do. Right. They're not trying to. What is it? The Fosse take out the catcher that Pete Rose did.
Ray Fosse. Yeah, and Tony Beasley. I talked to him. He's going to be the third base coach. He's not going to be aggressive sends.
Right.
The goal is to not get anybody hurt.
Exactly. But they play baseball, hockey, basketball, football. They all even football. They don't even play
They don't even play a game anymore.
Yeah,
right?
it's like
they just
flag
play flag
football.
now. And the basketball game this year was a joke. And I think Luka Doncic and Nikola Jokic did a good job of showing what a farce it is. And then hockey's not a bad game, but it's usually really
they're not
high
checking
scoring.
like they they're not checking like they normally do.
Baseball, these guys are coming with their ace stuff. They're trying to get outs. If
they're trying to hit home runs, they're trying.
Guys are trying to do something. So it is the best of the all-star things among all
I
sports.
Totally agree.
Yeah. So anyway, that'll be a lot of fun. But yeah, let's get Kennedy. We don't need to keep talking here.
No,
we got a bunch of questions.
We'll get Kennedy and Shawn on here, and then we'll really get in. There's a few questions we got. We're going to go live, and maybe we'll get some more after that. But there's a lot of questions I could ask anyway.
Yeah, but there is one thing we want to make sure that we're mentioning. Our
One Rangers today
at One Rangers Way, the apartments that they're building here. We have the Safe at Home segment with them. From the last homestand, there was a lot of good. Evaldi pitched well. Wyatt Langford had himself a nice little homestand. I think we did Langford last week, so we'll go ahead and do Nathan Evaldi. He was on the mound. Good. He gave the Rangers a chance to win twice. He ended up, I believe, just winning one of those starts, but maybe both. I don't have it in front of me. I probably need to shore that up. But The fact of the matter is, One Rangers Way, it's a partnership between the Rangers and the Cordis companies. They're going to open in January. They're leasing now. The leasing office is in Choctaw Stadium. They have a model that's at Texas Live above Troy's for you guys to take a look at. This place really is super close. When I'm in the press box and you look out the left field windows, you can see them being built on the other side of the new Lowe's Hotel.
Very cool.
Look, if it's a one of a kind opportunity for an exclusive lifestyle, basically right in the Rangers' back pocket with every amenable possible amenity. They're going to have a bar just for residents, which is pretty sweet.
And a swim up bar too, right?
Pull with a swim up bar. State-of-the-art gym. I mean, there's just a lot going on there. Very pet friendly. They have floor plans. I think they said they have 52 floor plans. They're all named after Rangers or something Rangers related. So you can get an Eric Nadel floor plan, for instance. So anyway, live like a champion at One Rangers Way, onerangersway.com. Now leasing for January of 2025.
And we've got to be honest right now. If you look out that left field window, there's a big All-Star logo there that blocks your view, but it'll be gone after this week. And
I can still see it.
You can? Okay, all right. They know it blocks my way, but I know what you're talking about. It was right out there by Choctaw, and man, they're going to be cool.
They are, yeah.
All right, let's get them on, guys. Kennedi Landry, Shawn McFarland, they're coming up right after this. The guest segment and live show today is brought to you by the Round Rock Express. Jeff, what's going on in Round Rock?
Well, not a lot because they're in Reno where the ball flies. We'll talk about that here in a minute. When we get to the minor league, the bus league segment, but they return home next week, and on Friday the 19th, the Round Rock Briskets jersey giveaway. They're a good-looking jersey. The game highlight is the brisket bash with a barbecue tasting add-on, $20 a person to sample 8 different Texas barbecue restaurants. It's a pretty good darn deal right there. Fireworks on that Friday, then on July the 20th. Rangers World Series replica giveaway trophy. When the Rangers handed one out, is a big item at the Wilson household. So make sure you're at Dell Diamond for that. The first 2,000 fans get one of those. Then on Sunday, the 21st, it's the Teddy Bear Toss. All right, listen to this. Fans are encouraged to bring a new stuffed animal to the game and throw it onto the outfield from beyond the netting in the middle of the 6th inning. The team store will have teddy bears for sale for fans to throw. All stuffed animals will be donated to the Williamson County Children's Advocacy Center. Good for Round Rock. For more information, go to MLB.com/round-rock.
Hey guys, and welcome to the live stream. We're going live right now. This is episode number 128. You can see Shawn McFarland there from the Dallas Morning News. He is at John Wayne Airport? Is that where you're at?
That's correct.
And we've also got Kennedi Landry from MLB. Thanks for them joining on. Of course, Jeff Wilson from Rangers Today.
Hi.
I'll try to drive this bus. We have some questions that are going to go in here. Let's see if we can get the comments going. And looks like we've got a few people on there right now. Guys, jump in if you've got questions. We've already got a few to ask. But more than anything, if nobody asks questions, we're going to figure out what's going on with this Texas Ranger team heading into the All-Star break. What's going on in the second half? Are they going to be buyers, sellers, what? And if we're going to find out about that, let's go to three of the people that cover them every day and are in that locker room. Guys, let me start it out this way. I'll ask y'all. I have my own opinions, but so far, who has been the biggest disappointment in the first half of the season?
Oh my God.
Well, I guess we'll let the veteran go first. Biggest disappointment, probably Adolis. I don't know. He's hitting 212 or something like that. He keeps coming up empty in big situations. I think he's probably got to be the clubhouse leader for that one.
Yeah, I guess my thought is kind of Jonah Heim, honestly, just the way he was an all-star last year. I think his defense isn't quite as good as it has been in the last few years as well. And the catcher position, obviously, this year has kind of come up empty a lot of times, not just Jonah, but behind him too. And I think, if Jonah's riding really good, behind those top four, things are going a lot better for the Rangers right now. Obviously, it's not just him, but I think that's a sneaky candidate for somebody who's kind of disappointed a lot this year. Sorry to Jonah Heim.
What about you, Sean?
You guys took the easy ones, but I agree with Jeff. I think it has been a dull. I think even you look at this last week. I mean, Jonah has hit well this last week. Leody Taveras has hit well this last week. Nathaniel Lowe has been very solid for the last few weeks, and Adolis has been the one guy aside from the go-ahead home run in Tuesday's game against the Angels. You can see this lineup lengthening out as Jonah, Leody, and Nate Lowe kind of get back into form, and I think they're kind of just waiting on Adolis to also rediscover his swing, and that makes this lineup look a lot more like it did last year, I think.
Yeah, it's he's right in the middle of it. I know they've moved him down a little bit with Langford now batting fourth, but and on Jonah, I just wonder, like he didn't have a day off. I mean, a game off. He had days off in October. It's not like they played every day in October, but from basically September 20th on, he caught every game, and pretty much every inning of every game. There was that funky situation where poor old Austin Hedges had to play in game one of the World Series and almost had to bat, the happiest guy in the world that Garcia hit a home run. But I wonder. I do think the fatigue thing is real. I just not just with him, but I think with other people too. So
yeah, it's tough right with Jonah too, because you need his bat in the lineup right now too, because it has been so thin, and he obviously is, as Kennedy said, has not been as great defensively as it was last year, but he's still a good defensive catcher, so there's not a lot of great opportunities to get him out of the lineup right now, which is also tricky to navigate.
Yeah.
And all due respect to Andrew Kisner, he's not Mitch Garver's bat either, so that does change many things in terms of getting Jonah off his feet whenever that may be.
Yeah, Mitch had such a he was hurt for the first 2 months or whatever. He had a big year. He really did. He had a really nice, important regular season, and obviously the postseason was great too. But he had a big year. That one snuck up on me.
Well, not that nobody cares about my opinion. I'm just a guy that's doing that, but I'll throw mine in. And since you would obviously Adolis is probably somebody you could do. Also, Kennedy's right. Jonah is somebody too that hasn't quite donated last year. But for me, if I'm not going to get to choose the obvious one in Adolis, maybe I'll go with someone like Nate Lowe, who obviously started a little late because of the injury and getting into it. The power hasn't been there, and it's not that we expect 50 home runs from Nate Lowe. He has started, his bats come on lately. Yeah. He's putting together good at bats again, too. I really think Josh Young out of this lineup, that bat in that lineup is going to help a lot of things. It just lengthens it, is what it does. So that's mine. Let's go to another one. One of our guys, Chev, Chev, who comes on there all the time. He says, if Texas does upgrade at the deadline, what spot are you upgrading and who gets what package? That's harder to determine, but what's the spot they need to make a move at?
Yeah. I would, as much as I like Leody Taveras, they probably need another outfielder, and I think they're gonna get one. Josh Smith's gonna be the left fielder probably, so maybe this takes care of itself. And Leody and Wyatt split time there in center field, and Wyatt would play every day, obviously, but they've just been short in the outfield all year, and Robbie Grossman hasn't played enough or done enough, and so I like, it's not going to be like last year, I don't think, where they go get a catcher. I mean, Jonah was hurt at the deadline last year. A backup catcher seems like a luxury item at this point. I don't know that they have the financial wherewithal to add a luxury item. So I would go with an outfielder, maybe a center fielder. And if you want to go crazy, all right, let's go get Jazz Chisholm. All right, go get Jazz.
What about you guys? Hey, by the way, for anybody that's watching, we got they're coming on more and more. If you will top up a question, get it to me, and I'll get it on here. So this is live. Go ahead and hit them to me. Go ahead, Kennedy.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like every time I say the Rangers need to upgrade at first base. Nathaniel Lowe goes on a tear, and I think that's what I think. Like 3 weeks ago, I was like, go get Pete Alonso, and then Nathaniel Lowe's been great in these 3 weeks. But I think if Nate can produce consistently like he did a couple years ago, and even in the early parts of last year, then we're not even talking about this. I don't think the Rangers have what it needs to probably trade for Pete Alonso as a rental, even at that. But obviously, I think Jeff's hit the nail on the head in terms of outfielders, especially if Evan Carter is still down and still struggling as much as he was against lefties. And speaking as if Josh Young is going to be back soon after the All-Star break and around the deadline time, and how things will kind of play themselves out there, like Jeff said.
I mean, this is terrible. I forgot about Evan Carter. I mean, I guess he could, but do you want him to play every day?
Well, he hasn't been about a clubhouse either. He's down in Arizona. Right, he's in Arizona.
So. But you mentioned, Kennedy, the struggles against lefties. I don't know that he's an everyday player. You don't just throw him back in, I don't think. I think that's kind of established at this point. You got to win games, and if he's not going to hit, well, anyway. All right, Sean's up.
I know it's not very flashy, but I feel like this team needs a bench bat. Like, this is a pretty thin bench, especially if you're going to have Josh Smith playing almost every day. I think Travis Jankowski brings a lot of positives to this team, but he has like a sub 500 OPS right now. He's just not a guy. I think last year, look at Travis, and he said it that, he loved his role last year, where it was just like, when I played, just get on first base, steal second, and score. It was that simple. And, with Ezekiel Duran now in AAA figuring things out, you look at that bench and, outside of Robbie Grossman against lefties, there's just not a lot of options right there when you do have to give a Jonah Heim a day off, or give anyone a day off, or, this or that. That's not the flashy splash, that might save this team, but it is a pretty thin bench, I think, and I think having more reliable options would really help.
Okay.
Yeah, and for me personally, not that anyone cares again, but I kind of agree with Sean on a bat, and more of a right-handed bat, and like he said, and so at one point I was thinking if this team was definitely in it, you could go get a rental. I don't think they'll get a rental at all. If they buy anyone, it'll be not at this point, unless it's just somebody that's serving no purpose on someone else, and they're willing to take some money or something like that, or a low-level prospect. They're not going to rent anybody. I think any deal they would make would be long-term. But we'll get into more questions about trade deadline that people are talking about. I do have a funny one here from let's see, Tyler Henderson. Who is most likely to bump Pete Swift in the clubhouse? Kennedy?
Oh, that's Josh Smith.
Huh?
Like play it. Just play it in the clubhouse. That's Josh Smith, 1,000%.
Old man.
I'm trying to learn the vernacular here.
Josh Smith.
Me and Josh Smith went to the same Taylor Swift concert in Arizona a couple years ago, so definitely him.
Okay. All right. So let's go to another one. Okay, here's another one that I wanted to get out there. Let's go. Let's say, assuming the Rangers make no huge moves at the deadline, who do you see in the rotation and the bullpen when Mahle, DeGrom, and Bradford come back?
Okay.
Let's go around there. What do you see happening? I mean, because look, people can talk deadline all they want. This team can have its own deadline. They've got some people that are hurt that are coming back that are huge for this organization.
Yeah. First of all, I think they could trade starting pitching.
Yep.
If they need to get something, I think because they feel good about the guys coming back, they might be able to trade Lorenzen, trade John Gray, maybe trade Heaney, but Heaney's been really good lately. So anyway, okay, so let's say on August 20th, Jacob DeGrom makes his season debut. Rotation will be Max Scherzer, Eovaldi, DeGrom, Mahle, and
if you haven't got rid of him, maybe Gray or Heaney.
I would say Heaney. I think you want a different look.
Or Bradford.
I don't think Bradford. No,
he goes to the pen. Okay, he was.
And you just can't have all these starters in the bullpen.
Right.
You can't have half your bullpen be starting pitchers. You have to have guys that can go out and get it, can warm up in 8 pitches and go in the game and get a big out. And I don't know that starting pitchers can do that. So that's why I also think that they're going to have to make this thing work. They're going to have to make a trade. I really think they're going to have to trade some pitching. It'll help with the salary.
40-man spots,
It'll help with 40-man spots. It'll help with money, because that's an underlying issue here. The payroll, the lack of a TV deal is an underlying issue here. So whatever I said.
You said DeGrom,
Scherzer,
Eovaldi, Mahle,
and I'm going with Heaney.
You're going with Heaney.
I'm going with
Kennedy?
I pretty much agree. Mostly, I would say Heaney in the rotation just because he's a lefty, and I just don't like rotations that are all right-handed. Obviously, I think Cody Bradford could come out of the bullpen fairly easily. I think, honestly, I like John Gray to the bullpen. Me and Sean have talked about this off podcast before, but he's an electric closer. Like, just let him go out there. I think he could do it. He hasn't allowed a run in his 2 relief appearances this year. Was really great in the postseason last year. I'm so fine with him just being a leverage reliever.
He'd give you more than one, too.
And he's an expensive leverage reliever at this point, if that's what's going to happen. But if that's what they're going to do at the end of the season, that's how many arms they're going to have, then I'm 1,000% okay with that. And I think you're right, trade Lorenzen. Like, you can get something for him to a contender, somebody like Los Angeles needs the Dodgers, not the Angels. Obviously, needs some rotational depth.
Yeah.
Seattle, even I don't know if they trade in division, but a lot of teams need starting pitching, and the Rangers could get something back from them, especially with how many prospects they've dealt off in the last few years too.
Yeah.
What about you, Sean?
Yeah, I pretty much agree with what Kennedy and Jeff said. I mean, Cody Bradford is definitely an unfortunate luck kind of guy, given how well he started this season before the never-ending back injury that became a rib injury that has now derailed him. And even I think Bruce Bochy said a couple weeks ago that they're preparing him now to come out of the bullpen as he makes his way back. And he was good in that role last year when he was flip-flopping between the rotation and the bullpen. But to your point, he's not he's not your prototypical flamethrower that comes out of the bullpen leverage situations, but he's been good at it. And yeah, John Gray, I mean, when he is on, he can be a very good starter, as we've seen from various month periods last year and this year. But, when he's off, it is not as reliable, and he has been very good out of the bullpen when he has had to come out of the bullpen with that 2-pitch fastball slider mix. Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to – pitching staff is going to look different in a month or now when you have these guys come back post-deadline. But I do agree that you're looking at DeGrom, Scherzer, Mahle, Eovaldi, and I think Heaney's probably the safest bet for that 5 spot.
So then the bullpen, I don't know if that's a question, but we're going to
Yes, it is part of it.
So Yates and Robertson.
Sure.
Spores.
Yep.
Leclerc. Okay. So then
that's 4.
Latz has options.
So maybe he gets.
We can send Latz to bullpen to Round Rock. I mean, for a bit.
So okay, so then we're going to add Gray. So that's 5.
Bradford.
I don't know. Dunning. You could trade.
Oh wow,
Dunning.
we forgot about Dane
Dunning.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That speaks to that. Dunning 6.
We got 8. So we got 8 in the bullpen.
Let's say they don't trade Lorenzen. Lorenzen's at least been a reliever before 7. So then,
we got one more spot. You've got people like Bradford, Latz. You've already talked about
Latz, Jonathan Hernandez.
All Hernandez.
Do we have any lefties in this bullpen right now? Cody Bradford.
That would have to be the Bradford Latz decision.
Well, then I think I want Latz.
You want Latz because he's better at what he does. Bradford is your long guy.
Yeah, so I don't.
But we have 12 long guys.
That's true.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
Oh, and then I hate it when people make sense.
I forgot about.
Urania.
Urania's been their best pitcher all season. He's been unbelievable.
There's going to be a meeting of guys with options, and they're going to go, look, Here's the situation.
There aren't that many guys with options. So
Latz and Bradford are the only two, right?
Yeah,
I think so.
Does Johnny have options?
I don't think Hernandez does anymore.
He's out, and he's pitching decent enough he'd get claimed.
Yes, he would.
I don't know. See, we got problems, so we got to make some trades.
You're gonna have to.
I want to start the Daniel Robert agenda, by the way. I like what a story this dude has. Like, did not
great
pitch in
story.
college. Had to he rehabbed from Tommy John surgery in like 5 months to make it back to effectively try out for the Rangers. He bumps like 96, 97. I don't think he's long for this team, but it's a cool story for a 29-year-old to be here, and I am planting my flag on the Daniel Robert.
Shawn, I couldn't agree more. I love that. I love a guy that just keeps grinding, and at 28, 29,
he's almost 30.
He's 30
he just 30 in a few weeks.
Finally, it gets there, and he does it, and I want nothing but success for that guy. That's what I want. So it's a great story.
Kennedy doesn't like him because he went to Auburn.
Yeah, there you go.
Wrong Tigers.
There's some SEC crap in that clubhouse.
Coming out of the lockout, 22, the Rangers were genuinely worried that if there had been a Rule 5 draft that they would have lost Daniel Robert.
Yeah, they were. I remember you saying
that. I do remember that.
So, anyway.
Okay, so here's one's from Bruce, and this we've kind of touched on it, but it's interesting now that I reread it. Bruce asks, who do you think the Rangers would sell if they do sell? We've hinted on it, but let's get into it. Or if they do buy, who is untouchable?
Okay, so sell any of the starters.
Right, you got Lorenzen, even Dunning or with
Gray, Dunning, Lorenzen, Navalny. We'll just put them over in the I would say Urania too. Let's just go ahead and put them over there. And then untouchable, I think the only untouchable prospect is Walcott.
Right now, Sebastian.
Yeah, maybe Teodo. Maybe Teodo, but I think that's it. But I don't think they're.
No,
I mean,
if they bought it, would be for long term.
I mean, the names that people talk about. Yeah, people always are when they come up with these trades. I think they're coming up with they're giving away too much. How many trades are there that are really like a team's 1, 3, 5, and 7? There just aren't that many trades like that anymore. And I don't think there's not a Mark Teixeira deal out there for the Rangers or for anybody for that matter. I don't think so.
Not anymore.
But I would say Walcott, and you can't get rid of Teodo at this point. You just got to let that one ride out. I mean, it's been too good at Double-A. I mean, it's a below 2 ERA. You got to see how it ends up.
You got to see how it plays. Kennedy.
Yeah, I'm such I'm not a prospect hugger. I'm send them all out for all I care. Quite frankly, yeah.
That's what the players think.
Yeah,
like the big league players.
They're like, I don't want to hear it.
Michael Young told me once. We were talking. This is when he was obviously on the team. So when they were good, he's like, trade them all. Trade them all.
Well, yeah,
get us what we need. Trade them all.
Yep.
You get Max Scherzer last year. You think any of those 28 guys care about? All due respect to Luis Angel Acuna, he could be great. It doesn't matter. Right. So I don't I just personally, I guess in theory, Walcott should be the only untouchable. I think Sure, Teodo, you want to let that ride out, and I'm still not. We have hopes, but I'm still not entirely confident in any of the pitchers in this farm. Becoming really great
contributors
every day. Yeah. All due respect to Cody Bradford, who I guess is the most recent success story, barring the back rib, whatever. But send them all out. I don't think anybody's untouchable if the Rangers are in a spot that they could add.
John?
Yeah, I agree. And to Jeff's point, I don't know if there's going to be a trade out there that would warrant trading Sebastian Walcott anyways. You know what I mean? I don't...
Yeah, right.
If there is, I don't know if the Rangers would even be in that mix because of, money issues and the TV issues and, still having an eye on the future too. But yeah, I also lean on the side of Kennedy. I am also this is not a Ranger specific thing. I am just team trade pitching prospects as soon as they have value. I don't know if it's
like
how many teams in baseball can really develop pitching consistently? You can count them on one hand. It feels like. I am just in favor of, I really like Teodo. I like the Winston Santos and Alejandro Rosarios who've had really good seasons, but if there's a move that can be made that can legitimately help this team this year, or even looking into next year, that requires one of those guys, I think you do that. And you look at, like, we haven't mentioned his name, but like, what do they do with Justin Foscue? Like, he's been kind of like the odd man out for a couple years now, with obviously the Seager signing, the Simeon signing, the Langford explosion. Like, what is his long-term role on this team? I think the bat is good. It could probably help this team, but like, what's the long-term home for him? I don't know.
Yeah,
there's the question. Jeremy Harrington, Foscue, should he be called up?
I think that his future is tied to Nate Lowe's future. Nate Lowe is making $7.5 million this year. I think he has 2 years of arbitration left. If the team gets a lousy TV deal, even if it's just for 1 year, do they save money on putting Foscue at first base over Nate Lowe? I mean, it's something to think about. It's not, we've talked about Nate right at the start. It's not like he's sitting on 30 homers here at the All-Star break. So, even he said it the other day. First basemen have to hit home runs to stay in the league, and he's at this point he's more of like a James Loney trajectory than he is. A good defensive player, left-handed batter who doesn't hit it for a ton of power. So, I think that's Foscue's kind of tied to that. But I would think Foscue could get a call up depending on how things shake out there. Anyway,
if they don't get one of these right-handed bats that Sean and I so desperately want coming out of this deadline, he's surely somebody that they could call on within the organization.
I've been banging the Justin Foscue drum for years. If Justin Foscue has no fans, I am dead.
All right, let's start bouncing these questions around.
Okay. Andrew, should the Rangers consider a 6-man rotation to give pitchers like DeGrom and Mahle extra rest coming off the injury? Kennedy.
Oh, wow, I'm going first there. I think they should at least consider it. I don't know how you don't consider it, considering this rotation is a bunch of old guys who are hurt all the time, eventually, respectfully. I haven't looked at what the kind of schedule looks like in the second half there, and if how off days just will naturally play into that and will help out this rotation. But I do think that's something that Mike and Boch and CY will have to at least consider and talk about as we kind of get all those guys back into this rotation.
I don't think it'd be a true 6-man. Like early in the year, they had that long stretch where they dropped in
spot starters. Yeah,
they dropped in lighter. Right in Detroit.
Sure.
And that was strictly to give everybody a day off. So, next question.
Well, but you could also, Sean, I mean, what do you think about that?
I mean, they might have to unless they sell some of these guys. Like, we just talked about it 10 minutes ago, but they're going to have like a dozen starting pitchers on this roster unless they option guys or trade guys. So, I don't know. Maybe from time to time to give guys breaks, but I don't know if that's a long-term solution.
I agree.
I hear you, Boo.
I agree with that,
Mike
too.
Maddox is not a fan of 6-man.
One thing they can do, too, though, some of these guys can what did they call it? Piggyback off each other and do that. But you're right. That's a tough one. Let's see. What is here's one that they just want to know from y'all. What's everyone's favorite of the current uniforms? Which ones do you guys like the best?
I'm a powder blue girly.
I'm all white.
I like all white with red hats.
Me too.
Red hats.
Sean and I, it's nothing against the blue hats, which I grew up with.
I'm definitely a blue hat guy. I'm a blue hatter.
Well, I grew up with the powder blues. They used to be the away uniforms when I was a kid for the Rangers, and while I like them, they just don't look right to me without the red bill and on the helmet and all of that stuff. To me, it's still a little weird, but I do like just the white uniform with the red hat. I'm a big fan of that. That reminds me of the 90s when they were really started their first run of being pretty good and went to the playoffs and lost to the Yankees every year. It was always the red uniforms.
All right, so how about a question for each one of us that only one of us answers, and then we'll finish with Billy Flanagan's.
Right.
All right.
Well, this one though, this one's a pretty good one though that they want to know from all of you.
Okay.
What is the most unexpected, surprising thing you've learned about a player that most of us are probably unaware of?
Oh.
Current player?
Ooh.
That's what they're asking. Yep.
A current player.
Well, you could go to a past one, but for us that get to actually interact with these guys, what's something you've learned that they may not be aware of? I'll tell you mine.
Oh, okay.
I'll tell you mine. Nobody cares.
That'll buy us time.
Yeah, I did not realize how good of a ping pong player Josh Sborz was. I mean, he's probably the best one in that clubhouse. And I know that Simeon's good, and you see Josh Smith play; they're all good. But I'm telling you, I haven't seen Sborz lose.
Huh?
Okay, that's mine. I was surprised by that.
The guys do say that Sborz is the best one,
and I've seen it. That's why I thought that.
Everybody knows this, but the Max Scherzer eyes, it still messes me up. And last year, I said something to Mitch Garver about it, and he goes, "Which one do you look at?" So that's kind of a good tip, I think. But so the Max Scherzer eyes, I don't know if I'm ever going to get over the Max Scherzer eyes, and I knew about it when he came here, but I didn't know about it.
It's very striking when you talk to him for the first time and he looks you dead in the eyes in the scrum when you ask a question and you're like, okay, all right. Sure. All right, Max.
All right, you two. We'll get to the last one after this to Billy, but go ahead. What are y'all? What's something that nobody's aware of?
So mine, this is from the Rangers media guide. I found this in spring training.
I know it.
It's that apparently Ezekiel Duran loves Tom and Jerry, the cartoon.
So do I.
And I think about that often. I don't know. It's one of my favorite little things to find in a media guide. So that might be up there for me.
They had a Tom and Jerry movie not that long ago.
Did they really?
Yeah. But I think they were friends. Tom and Jerry went downhill once they had a season or two where they were buddies, and it was
you can't be
buddies. It was garbage.
It doesn't work if
it was
they're
terrible.
buddies.
What happened to the game?
I hated it growing up when the Friends episodes came on.
All right, Kennedy.
I guess the best thing I can think right now is Kirby Yates. We were talking to him a couple weeks ago, me, Leslie, and Evan, and we were like, how did your family get to Hawaii? Your dad was military, but then he came back to California or whatever. And Kirby was just in his own words, I'm not, exaggerating. He said, "Oh, my dad was just a beach bum." And he just stayed, and he just stayed in Hawaii. And he was like, "Yeah, that's so." He opened some restaurants, and he went back to California, met his mom, or knew his mom, but they got married, came back to Hawaii, and that's where they've been forever. And I was
sweet.
That's great. I wish I was your dad. My God.
And I'll end it on this it kind of took me off guard, but a lot of the players, including Yates and Langford and them, they're all coffee drinkers. And they'll be middle of the afternoon and they'll come in with coffee and drink. Kennedy and I like coffee. We're always going up to the press box and she's showing it off right there. But that surprises me, especially athletes getting ready for a game and all of that. You think a sports drink or
see what they're putting in that coffee.
But they got those little coffees going in there. You'll see them all the time. The biggest one's Robbie Grossman. He says he drinks coffee almost 24/7.
Yikes!
All right,
he drinks a lot of coffee.
Yeah, this is Billy Flanagan, friend of the show, lifelong Ranger fan. He said, "Bear with me here, lifelong Ranger fan. Like many, couldn't be happier that they won the World Series last year. But they had two important winning streaks last year: a 40-20 start that they rode to the playoff spot, and an amazing postseason. Outside of those streaks, they are 94-100, a large sample. Is this a team on the verge of a, dare I say it, extended success, or a team like many feel they just need to make the tournament? The best teams don't always win anyway."
Yeah, I don't think baseball is a sport where you can turn it on like the NBA. I don't think be like Shaq and Kobe and not show up for 5 months and then all of a sudden you take the Lakers to the playoffs. So I think they're a good team. I think that they're going to be good for a while. I just think that they've had underperforming guys, and they've had injuries. And you can have one, but you can't have both.
Right.
And so I think that's kind of been their issue this year. But I think they're a good ball club, and I think they're going to be good for money issues notwithstanding. I think they're going to be good for the next 5 years.
Yeah. Kennedy?
Yeah, I think I agree. I think we're it kind of feels like we're just playing the Bruce Bochy agenda, but opposites. You know, before this year, he was always winning, doing really well in even numbered years, and playing like average and odd number years. It feels like we're just flip flopping that. And I was looking at it the other day. He's never made the playoffs after going to the World Series, and that can always change, obviously. But it feels like I think this is a good team. I think they'll probably, like Jeff said, be good for an extended period of time here. But it just feels like one of those years where things aren't kind of clicking and rolling. And I think it's very possible that they finish the season above 500 and play some good baseball down the stretch, and it may be too late. Especially looking at the AL standings and how this division is playing out. But also with how the division is playing out, they can still win it because everybody's bad. But I agree with Jeff, and I feel like this is just the Bruce Bochy playbook as well.
John?
Yeah, sorry, my quiet spot in the airport is no longer so quiet anymore. But I think there's two sides to it. Like, I think in sports in general, like, the window always closes faster than you think it will. There aren't many teams now across all sports that can be legitimate title contenders for like 5 to 10 years. The window does close quick. But to that point, all you can do is do everything you can to keep that window open. And I think the Rangers are in a position to do that between the young talent like Wyatt Langford and Josh Young and Evan Carter, if assuming everything continues to progress well there, and the commitment they've made in these last few years to supplement this team with free agency signings and deadline moves. So, yeah, I agree with Jeff. This is a good team. There's a good core here. It has not been a great year, but all you can kind of do is do everything you can to keep that window open for as long as possible. And, you can't win if you don't get in. We look at last year, they barely got in, they won it. So all you can do is do what you can to get in and see what happens from there.
Yeah.
I'd like to agree with all of you. I'd love to agree, and I hope that's the case. We'll see what happens in this offseason, especially when some of the money falls off. You kind of expect maybe they'll go back and spend a little more money this offseason again. I didn't expect them to spend a lot of money this offseason.
I did.
This past, and they really didn't. I mean, they kind of had what they thought was in place. They thought some of these kids were going to step up. But I do too. I do see the talent on this team has a chance to be something special for a few years here. They're definitely not in a rebuild. They're on the backside of it. This season's been a disappointment. The injuries obviously have not helped, but you can't always make injuries an issue. I mean, you've got to still perform. This lineup's still pretty stout when they were all performing like they could be, even without Young in it right now. And the pitching's been okay. I mean, they've had some good pitching all year. So, I mean, it's just they can't score runs right now. So they have the opportunity, but you can't perform like you're performing right now.
Yeah. So anyway, all right. Well, what are we going to be doing in October?
Well, we'll see how many LSU games I go to, and the Rangers will determine that.
Yeah. I mean, the next 2 weeks, I think it's decided. I really do. Although I was around for 15, and the 15 team was great in August and September. So there's that possibility out there, but I don't know.
They got to play some meaningful baseball. They need to go out and play meaningful baseball. They're not out of it yet.
I don't think they can win the wild card, so they got to win the division.
Yeah, they got to win the division.
The Rangers this year are basically the Mariners last year. Mariners were 6 games back by the time we got to the All-Star break. They sold off some minor pieces at the deadline. They went on that stretch in August. They were, obviously in it till the very end when the Rangers were in Seattle at the end there. That's kind of what the the trajectory that the Rangers kind of look like they're on right now, selling off some little pieces at the deadline and somehow going on a run when some people get back. So not saying that's exactly what's going to happen, but it could.
And like, would anyone be super surprised if they just like tore through August? You know what I mean? Like, if this lineup just happens to get hot or September, and if they just have a really good 2-week stretch, I wouldn't be surprised if we're super surprised with, if everything clicks in the lineup and the pitching continues to be as it has. The bullpen's been pretty good lately too, like more than just Yates and Robertson. So, again, the pieces are there. So,
right. You're right.
All right, guys. Well, listen, Kennedi, Shawn, thanks so much for stopping down. We've run almost 40 minutes. We're going to get y'all out of here. We're going to do this again. We've always talked about doing it multiple times. Maybe we'll do a live. We do live shows during the off season. Get you to come out to a brewery and have a beer.
Ooh, yeah.
Get some players out with us, and we'll have some
beer.
She'll love to come have a beer. Beer's on us. We'll do that and try to do that, guys. Big thanks to Kennedi Landry and Shawn McFarland. When we come back after this, we're going to go down in the bus league. Guys, thanks a lot for doing it.
Thanks, guys.
Down in the bus league is brought to you by the Frisco RoughRiders. Jeff, what's going on in Frisco?
Well, they are home right now. It is July 11th, so if this hits the airwaves tonight, which I think it will, it's Thirsty Thursday, which is always good. And then on the 12th, Friday the 12th, First Responders Night, presented by Peak Roofing and Construction. Fireworks, always fireworks on Friday. Saturday the 13th, it's Texas Mumbly Barbecue Night. Hutchins Barbecue, which is one of my favorites, is going to be out there. Kids are on the bases after the game. And Sunday the 14th, it's Bluey Day. So kids, again, love the Bluey. Kids are scoring this weekend. Kids Sunday Fun Day presented by Raising Cane's. And then Sunday, Summer Fireworks presented by Primrose Schools. Then they go out of town for a week. They're back to the week of the 23rd against the Tulsa Drillers. For more information, go to milb.com/Frisco.
All right, a big thanks to Kennedi Landry and Shawn McFarland for joining us. That was a lot of fun. Now let's go down to the bus leagues. Talked about the bus leagues. We go from top to bottom. We're going to talk about every team in the Rangers organization, including the Dominican League, which is doing good, and the ACL. But let's start at the top. Round Rock Express. They're 7-7. We're in the second half of the season.
Second half.
That's why it's not overall, but 7-7. They're 4-6 in their last 10. They did win their last game. Who do we need to talk about there?
A couple guys. They're starting to hit a little more. Starting to hit some balls out of the ballpark. Sandro Fabian has surged into the team lead with 11. Sam Huff finally hit a couple home runs after going through a long drought. Blaine Krim has been productive, though still probably not where he wants to be. Our good buddy Dustin Harris and Justin Foscue had 5 hit games the other day. In a 14, I think it was 14-11 or 14-10 loss. The teams, Reno, the ball just flies. They're at about 4,400 feet in Reno. The teams combined for 36 hits. Round Rock had I can't remember how, 17 or 16. Anyway, Foscue and Dustin Harris both went 5 for 5 in that game, which is pretty interesting. Foscue, 286, 950 OPS for those of you who are watching him. He's playing second base and first base. A guy who, he's on the 40. I think if depending on which way the Rangers go here at the deadline, we could see a lot of them. And in the second half, see a lot of them without them selling or anything. So, pretty good there. The problem in the 14-10 game was that Owen White was the pitcher. He gave up 10 runs in 4 innings. So I think that they kind of look at a start at Reno and El Paso and Albuquerque, and they kind of cross those off the list because the ball just flies there. And Jack Leiter's ERA is still under 4. He's doing fine. Daniel Robert, good story. We talked about him very, very much early on. Made his major league debut after a June in which he didn't have an ERA. It was 0.00 and
that's good, right?
In 12 innings. I mean, it wasn't like he just pitched one game.
Yeah, he didn't pitch 4 innings and not.
It was a good one. Yeah, and there's been some roster turnover. Johnny Cueto opted out of his deal. It just wasn't going to work out here. I don't know if it's going to work out anywhere.
Yeah.
Anyway, so and then Well, we'll do this one next.
Okay.
Next.
Frisco RoughRiders, AA affiliate. They're 9-5 in the second half. They're 6-4 in their last 10. They also won their last game. What about Frisco?
Well, they just keep winning. They're just a good team. And
they won the first half. They're already in the playoffs.
They're in the playoffs. Kennedy and I were out there Tuesday talking to
Maui.
We did not talk to Maui. We talked to Teodo, Emiliano Teodo, Winston Santos, and I talked to Liam Hicks. Those first two guys are in the futures game. They're going to leave the team on Friday, so tomorrow, and go join the festivities and rejoin the team. They're not pitching this week for Frisco. Numbers wise, Cody Freeman had a nice game last night. He's got 10 home runs, still leading the team in that. Just a solid player. He's just a solid guy. Don't be surprised if he's in the major leagues eventually. It's not going to happen tomorrow, but maybe in a year or two.
Yeah.
Look for him. Abby Ortiz has picked it up a little bit. Josh Hatcher, who was on the minor league show, leads the team with 44 RBIs. Liam Hicks, pretty good talker. We may have him on next minor league show. He had a really good June. He said he's cooled off a little bit. Thing about Hicks, he has one more walk than he does strikeouts. So this guy knows the strike zone.
That's selective. Yeah.
Can get on base. On the pitching side, Teodo's just a joke. He's really just been outstanding. He's got a 1.71 ERA. Dane Acker still, obviously a good player, name to watch. He's having some trouble putting guys away, so he's having some deep at bats. That's kind of leading to not his best performances, but boy, Teodo, 89 strikeouts in 16 1/3 innings. I think two things are going to happen with him. He's either going to go to AAA, or the Rangers are going to be like, you know what, this guy might be able to help us with his good slider and 102 mile per hour sinker.
Yep.
Let's try to get him more into a relief setting and see how he handles it and see if he can help us. So, but yeah, good team, and they work hard, and great manager Carlos Carrasco. So, Carlos Cardoza, good guy. Look forward to going out there again next month, hopefully.
Yep. Hickory, Crawdad, High, who's actually playing better the second half, even though they are still under 500. They're 8-9 in the second half, 6-4 in their last 10.
Mm-hmm.
And they did lose their last game, but Hickory is starting to put some stuff together. I mean, the bats that we wanted to see. Cam Colley had a good week. A week ago, we were off last week, so we didn't get to report on that.
Yeah.
He hit 3 home runs in the week and did well. But what else is going on out there?
Well, Sebastian Walcott will be at the Futures game. He's just been solid really since mid-May. He's up to 7 home runs. He's 18,
still
so
only
there's
18.
going to be some immaturity that comes along with that. But Glider Figueroa, he was promoted. He's only batting $150, but he's got 3 home runs. Alejandro Osuna is no longer with them. He was promoted to Frisco. I forgot to mention with Frisco that when the Rangers promoted Daniel Robert, Antoine Kelly was designated for assignment. He had that great year last year for Frisco, and it just wasn't working in Round Rock, and he's been hurt. But I think there's more to it than just like he's having trouble throwing with his control. I haven't done a lot of reporting. He may. That's a pretty big arm. So we'll see about that, but so that's an interesting one. And like then when they sent it and when camp broke and they sent him down, they're like, we want him to work on throwing strikes, obviously, but his pickoff move, things like that, PFP stuff like that, and there's a lot more to pitching than just how hard you can throw, and now that'll get him a job. He's left-handed and can throw 98. So if he does clear, great. If not, wish him luck. Back to Hickory on the pitching side. All of our buddies are up, and Alejandro Rosario, who's doing okay. He has he's made I think 2 starts, and his ERA was up around 5, but he's still striking out guys and throwing a lot of strikes. What he's going to learn is those strikes are now going to get. He's not going to be able to
find a few more barrels.
He's not going to be able to get away with what he was able to get away with.
And that's just an adjustment.
Down yonder. And, Cole Drake, he's up to 3 starts. He's doing okay. Still, these guys are premium strike throwers. I can't stress how ridiculous it is.
Rather
these
get
guys
beat
are throwing so many strikes. So,
well, look at,
but yeah, and Aiden Curry had a nice start the other day. He's out making his starts. The numbers are still an eyesore with a 7.58 ERA, but it's pretty. It's a marked improvement from where he was. And Mitch Bratt, since our last show, turned 21. So happy birthday to Mitch. His dad is a listener, and he was on our minor league show. So still pitching good down there. And Hickory, I bet he's in Down East before too long.
You mean in Frisco?
Yeah, Frisco.
Down East, speaking of, we'll go to Down East. Also, they're 7-9, 5-5 on their last 10. They've also lost their last game.
Yeah, it's these are the rosters that turn over. This is the roster that turns over the most.
Sure.
As the AZL season ends or the ACL season ends, players will be moving up. Some of them already have. So anyway, offensively, Chedry Vargas had a good June. He's up to 9 home runs, which now leads the team now that Figueroa is gone. 771 OPS. He's really just steadily improved. And he was a guy who in Arizona last year caught a lot of people's eyes. This is still a pitching first team, always going to be. And they're going to end up losing some pitchers here pretty soon, I'd imagine.
Sure.
Jose Gonzalez, 82 strikeouts and 11 walks in 59 2/3 innings. That's just outstanding.
Again, that's low A. You get to high A,
they're gonna, but still, you can't deny what you see. David Davalillo, 1.68 ERA. I think those two will be the next two to get moved up.
Well, and if you want to use examples, you see guys that dominate lower like that. One guy was Tyler Phillips, and so did what's his name that pitched for Anaheim last night. Then they got into the upper level, struggled a little bit, and then they found it again, and now they're helping out major league teams.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter where you succeed. If you can learn how to do it and work through it, when you get up into upper leagues, they're going to be better bats.
Yeah.
And you got to start learning different things. You can't just blow past guys with 99 miles an hour at a certain point. But from down east, let's go down to one team there's two teams that have been amazing. And we're going to go down into the baby leagues now. We're going to Arizona Complex League first. Arizona Complex League, they're 30-18. 8-2 in their last 10. They just lost their last game. This is a team that started out hot and has just stayed hot.
Yeah, we mentioned this. It's the same names. Yermi Cabrera, who leads the league with 9 home runs. Braylon Morel has been fantastic the last 6 weeks. He's up to 7 home runs. I think he's been the player of the week, back-to-back weeks maybe down there. Pablo Guerrero still doing Guerrero-like things. 840 OPS. And you're going to see names that who drop in for some rehab or whatever. Clymer Lemos, Clymer Lemos, though, the third baseman who was promoted from the Dominican, he's doing well. Yolfran Castillo, who was just promoted after hitting like 4-something in the Dominican, he's batting .313 through 4 games, so that's pretty darn good. And you mentioned Kumar Rocker, who had his first rehab start last Friday. Gave up a run in 2 innings, hit 99 miles per hour. So I think that you have
this is a guy that knows how to pitch. Once he harnesses that and that velocity's up, he might be the number one pitching prospect in this organization soon.
It's not a stretch to believe that.
We'll see how he finishes this second half of the season.
Yeah, so I think he's going to make a couple starts in Arizona. They may get him stretched out to 3 innings there, maybe make him do 3 twice. I mean, the Arizona season ends at the end of the month, so they've got to hustle if they're going to do that. But he'll be with an affiliate in August and see how he does. But it's obviously a good sign. Now, a guy who has not pitched in Arizona is Brock Porter. He's still throwing bullpens and live batting practices and. I'm sorry. He has thrown in games in Arizona, but he has not advanced to a full season affiliate again. Excuse me for what I said. So he's got that stuff under control, but what he's doing now is still trying to get the feel for it. They want to make sure everything is buttoned up before he gets sent back out to I would assume Hickory, but he's made 2 starts for Arizona. He started on the 4th of July, which was a week ago today. And he was really good. 3 innings, no hits, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts. So it looks like that's finally headed in the right direction.
All right, we'll touch on the DSL real quick. You got to at least do their records because both of the Dominican Summer League teams are amazing. The one that's, they have a red and a blue team.
Red and blue.
Yeah, the red team, listen to this. Red team is 21-4. They have won they're won 10 of their last 10. That's what you get for your last 10 games. They've won, but they've got a winning streak of 15. This is a team that's just kind of rolling over people right now.
Yeah.
But then you look at the blue team, 14-9, 4-5 in their last 10, and they've won 3 in a row. There are some young Latin kids down there that are just playing some good baseball.
Yeah, the red team is the one that has all the has the.
Now they were supposed to split them up.
I know.
Curly
Martha is having a nice little go at it. Paulino Santana still hasn't homered. Gets on base though. He's got 25 walks and 17 strikeouts. So he was the big deal signing. They're going to be fine. Jesus Delgado is a really good pitcher for that team. He was the Dominican League pitcher of the month in June. He had like an he has an 0.43 ERA now, whatever happened. I think that might actually be up a little bit, or maybe anyway, really good. And then this, excuse me, the blue team, they don't do anything outstanding offensively. They've got like their team leader has 3 home runs. But it's, you're just going to find these teams that can do a lot of good stuff. So anyway, keep an eye on them.
Yeah, they're doing good. Guys, this has been a fun one. Having on Kennedi and Shawn was obviously fun. Big weekend this weekend. It's a big series with the Astros coming up. Jeff and I will be out at the All-Star game. If you're out there, give us a holler. Let us know. We'll try to I'll at least try to get out and see what's up and say hello. But there's one more in the can. Sorry, last week. It was 4th of July. It was just going to be too hard to get things together last week. So we brought it back together this week with a fun one. Guys, it's always fun. Thanks to Kennedi and Shawn for coming on. For Jeff Wilson, I'm John Moore. Till next time, guys. See you at the yard.